Yes, let's see. Let's see. All right. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning from another hotel room. I'm in Tortola at the moment, actually, which is where I was heading yesterday when I did that particular live. And I'm doing this live this morning to follow up on yesterday. I said I would do another live today, and I'm actually going to be doing a proper video this evening to continue yesterday. Because remember, I said yesterday that there is this new phase of combining my work that I'm doing and formalizing it and really sort of putting out information, putting out material, content they call it, putting out material that people can use. And so what has been on my mind tonight, or last night, well, and today too, it still is on my mind. Some of the work that I'm preparing for you, some of the information I'm preparing to put out to you, I want to just give you a heads up first of all, and I want also to start the ball rolling really. Consider this a first lesson. Yeah. Lesson number one in the new series, the new set of content that's coming from me. It's a question. I have a question. And it's a question I ask almost everybody I work with. I ask it of girls, of women, every student I've ever had. And I ask it sometimes of total strangers, people I'm speaking with for the first time, if the conversation warrants it, of course. It's a question kind of like, what's your purpose? All of you will know by now that my work is about empowering people. It's about supporting people in having the information, the skills, the access, the confidence that they need to go after the lives that they want, to succeed at the things that they want, to build good lives. You will know, some of you, that the early part of my work really was with young girls in danger, young girls at risk, and with women who were living in, for want of a better term, in dangerous circumstances, in painful and difficult circumstances. And very often what happens in those circumstances is people lose their joy, their confidence, their sense of self, their sense of security, and their ability to support and maintain themselves as human beings. And I'm not talking just about money, the necessities of that. I'm talking about as human beings. They lose sense of self very often when they have certain traumatic and painful and difficult experiences. And so one of the first things I ask them is, I try to get them to do is bring that confidence back, redevelop that confidence. And you will also know that people have the confidence and the courage when they know that they can, when they can see ahead and they can plan ahead and they believe in themselves. And one of the questions that people often ask is, what's your purpose? Why do you think you're here? You think you have a reason for being here? Has anyone ever asked you that? Has anyone ever asked you, what is the purpose of your life? Or have you found your purpose? Or are you living on purpose? And have you found an answer? Well, many of the women I've worked with and the girls I've worked with didn't have an answer, because survival was what was most important to them, just sort of getting through the day. And so having a purpose, something bigger and something in the future, was not really relevant. When you're trying to stay alive and you're trying to survive and just trying to get through the day, those questions don't really come up. The trick is that they are really, really important in getting people through things. So when we're having the most difficult times of our lives, what gets us through is when we can see something beyond that. And what we can see beyond that is driven by how we feel about our ability to get there. Does that make sense? And so people ask us, what's your purpose? But I've stopped asking that question. The question I ask is very much like that, but it's different in some important and specific ways. To me, what's your purpose is an excellent question, because it can be, like I said, the guide, the North Star, the thing that brings out the courage and the drive and the energy and the will. And I have asked myself that many, many times in many of the changing phases of my life. And often I did not have an answer. I still sometimes don't. And it can be very frustrating in not having an answer, because people think you're supposed to have one, you're supposed to know your purpose. And sometimes they can make us feel kind of weird and even insufficient if we think we don't know our purpose. We're not quite sure why we are in the world. And sometimes it makes us ask ourselves, how come other people can have a purpose and know they have a purpose and be so very clear about what it is? And sometimes it makes us wonder, what's wrong with us? What's wrong with me? This has happened to me. I've been there, I can't tell you how many times, but I have reached a place of knowing that tells me that I don't have to know my purpose any more than I have to know what I'm going to have for dinner on the 29th of February in the next leap year. I don't have to, and neither do you. And so I don't ask myself that anymore. The question I asked that put a stop to that, the need to define my purpose clearly, specifically, and absolutely is, what are you fighting for, Shirley? What are you willing to fight for? Not fight against, fight for. Because what's your purpose is kind of passive. What's my purpose? And so I know my purpose, and then what? And it can make us feel really, really good to know it. But for me, it's kind of like, it's sort of thinking, it's the same sort of thinking as, you know, that quote about the man who cannot read, the man who does not read, who can read and does not read, has no advantage over the man who cannot read. Same thing for me, to know your purpose and to act on it are two very different things. In my book, two very different things. And of course, we can all agree, we must all agree that action is what makes a difference. It's taking action that makes things happen. So instead, I ask myself, what are you fighting for, SO? What are you fighting for? And that's because it seems to me that we are always in a fight of some kind. All of life is a case of a luta continua, no matter whether I am looking at my life or somebody else's, whether we're working in the right here, right now, or looking back in history. Whether we are talking about professional success, we're striving for professional success, we're fighting to stay healthy, or even just how to keep our love strong, we're always fighting for something. We're always working towards something. And it seems to me very, very clear. So instead of what's your purpose, I say, what are you fighting for? What are you fighting for? For this, it is critical that you have a clear idea, clear and specific answer. So you know, because you don't want to be fighting the wrong fight. You don't want to be fighting the wrong person. You don't want to be fighting a losing battle either, battle you know you're going to lose. That's a waste of energy. In every war, we win some and we lose some. But there's no point finding the ones you know you're going to lose. So we also get to define what winning is. And the other day, I asked a friend of mine about one of the battles that he was fighting, and his answer was, we don't come to bow, we come to conquer. That is man speak for there is no losing this one. Failure is not an option. So let me leave this question with you for the time being. Let me ask you, what are you fighting for? What are you fighting for? Think about it. And if you want to, tell me the answer in the comments. Also, if you think you could do with some help to get clear on what you're fighting for, or some guidance on how to strategize the battles you are already in, come over to shirleyosborne.com, leave me a message, and then we can talk. shirleyosborne.com is where I do much of this work. And a great part of the work that I do, one of the things I'm fighting the very hardest for, is precisely this. A world of women claiming and owning their power, our power, by knowing what we're fighting for. A world of women claiming and owning their power by knowing what they're fighting for. So I'd love to hear from you, and I'd be honored to help you. Let me know. Leave me a note in the comments, or send me a private message, or send me an email. Go over to shirleyosborne.com and let's talk. In any case, take good care.